Hi everyone, welcome back to a new video. I'm excited to talk to you guys today, as every Friday. I was going to do a recovery story originally, but unfortunately the person got sick, so send your good thoughts to them and we'll have some more recovery stories coming up very soon, so you don't always have to hear me talk every Friday. Today I want to talk about something that really came up in my sessions this week, and I thought it would be just something really fun to kind of explain to you and give you as a little tool for your recovery journey with DPDR and with anxiety. And the kind of topic of today will be why you are the only one that essentially is going to help you recover. What I mean with you being the only one that can make you recover is that your recovery comes from you changing the way your brain perceives life, basically. DPDR is a consequence of your brain basically perceiving life or your experience of life to be unsafe. And that's why it's protecting you. DPDR and symptoms of dissociation and even anxiety, are your brain trying to keep you safe from something it perceives to be unsafe. So look at it like this. If you could see your brain as like a little machine and it processes information, then if your brain is processing information that says things are good, things are safe, things are fine, then your brain will create relaxation and peace and symptoms of happiness and joy and relaxation and a capacity to be present. But when your brain perceives the message that life is unsafe, you're unsafe, something is wrong, then it's going to activate that fight or flight response that can either manifest itself through anxiety or even further depersonalization or derealization. And so what makes the brain feel unsafe is, on the one hand, what you consciously focus on. So say that I am consciously focusing on watching the news every day and focusing on everything that is wrong with life, then because I focus on that narrative of life is unsafe, I will in that moment feel uncertainty, worry, concern, all that kind of stuff. So that's more the conscious side of things, is more what thoughts you focus on, what things you focus on, the way you consciously choose how you interpret situations. But there's also another part to it, which is kind of your autopilot perception of life, which comes from the habit of thinking a certain way over and over again. So, for example, if you watch the news every single day constantly, then at some time your brain is just going to repeat that narrative automatically, which is going to make that negative mindset an autopilot. Think of it like this: if you drive to your job once, then you're really going to have to pay attention to the road. But if you drive to work a certain way over and over and over again, at some point you're just going to get to work and almost like forget how you got there because you weren't consciously driving anymore. Your autopilot said, okay, we got this now, we can take over, we understand the way to get to work, so we can just do it on autopilot. And that's the same thing with your brain and feeling safe, is that if you focus on a subconscious, or if you focus on a story of life is unsafe so often, at some point your brain is going to go, okay, we got this is the story now, we're just going to repeat this narrative on autopilot. And that's when it can almost feel like it is happening automatically without you even having control of it. When you constantly have anxiety, when you constantly are in dissociation, it's because your brain is just repeating that story of life is unsafe, something's wrong, over and over and over again, very automatically. And that's also why we feel like we're not in control of our recovery, because our autopilot is so strong that it feels like we're not consciously choosing to feel that way. But it's just because, like I said, it's become this automatic habit. And also say that you experience something really, really traumatic, which often for a lot of people is the case with DPDR. That can also directly influence the subconscious, because it has such a big impact that your subconscious brain suddenly says, okay, this is something we have to look out for so that the person, or like in your case, you, can be safe and stay alive. And so because in your subconscious there exists a story of something's wrong or life isn't safe, that is also automatically what you consciously start focusing on. There's a very interesting experiment. If you look it up on YouTube, it's actually quite fun. It's called the monkey business experiment. And basically, it explains how whatever you focus on becomes the only thing you see, and you miss the whole context of everything around it. So, to understand what I mean with this, it's a fun thing to look up on YouTube. It's called monkey business experiment. But basically, what you focus on or look for, you will find. If you are looking for proof that life is unsafe, you will find it. But the same way, if you are looking for proof that life actually is okay and that life actually is safe, then you will also find it. And so that's the conscious thing that you can do in your recovery, is actually consciously look for the other narrative. Consciously focus on why life is actually okay, why you are actually safe with your emotions, why you actually don't have to go in fight or flight mode. But on a deeper level, and this is where it works more effectively, if you can change that subconscious narrative of life not being safe, then your focus will automatically shift with that. And that's where deeper subconscious work comes in to be extremely important and extremely impactful. But I get to that in a second. I want to do a little exercise with you just to kind of prove the whole point of this video. I want you to close your eyes just for a moment, and I'll close my eyes with you. And I want you to focus on a memory in which you felt really, really safe. And just take a moment to find that. And if you don't find a memory immediately, just focus on a place, a beautiful place that you can create in your mind that feels really safe to you. I want you to notice how this focus on this picture, on this memory, makes you feel. And notice how, even if it's just a little bit of a change, you see your physiology change. You feel that maybe you're feeling a bit more relaxed, or you're feeling just a little bit more safe, just by focusing on that picture that you have of life, on that memory, or on this place, or whatever it is. If you want to take a bit more time with that, maybe pause the video, but now I want you to focus on something that feels very unsafe. Maybe a monster, or a certain bad memory that you have. And notice how just focusing on something that makes you feel unsafe changes how you feel so quickly, changes your physiology. Maybe you start feeling more unsafe, or more worried, or more tense. And then to end off on a good note, just switch back to that positive picture for a little bit. What I want you to notice by this, and this is a very, very simplistic little exercise, there's a lot more deeper stuff you can do behind this, is what you focus on directly is the message that you show your brain. If you focus on good things, you are directly showing your brain good things, and therefore it's changing the physiology. And so what we did just now is kind of visualize, but this also works with what you consciously focus on during the day, what the story is that you tell yourself. If you tell yourself a story every single day of how bad life is for not having certainty or control, or how awful your existence is, or how terrible, your emotions are, then your brain is going to listen to that. But if you change that focus, both consciously, like we just did, as going deeper into your subconscious and being able to change that feeling, change that story, that's actually how you start changing your chemistry, your physiological response, your emotions, and therefore also your symptoms, your dissociation. So how to go deeper? Let me give you some tips of what you can do to finish off on how you can go deeper into your subconscious and actually change that story. So the first thing, like I said, this is not so much subconscious, but a little bit, is be really conscious about what you focus on every single day repetitively. And this might feel like work in the beginning when you're consciously trying to change your focus on focusing on the positive things, or focusing on gratitude, or for example, when you have an existential thought and you say, oh, it's not good that I don't have the answers, maybe think about in what way could it be good that I don't have the answers. Or if you feel like something is wrong with life, try and think about maybe in what way could this be good. Like something that I used to do was when I felt really terrified of life, I would just focus on facts like dogs existing, or focus on the fact that the trees are creating oxygen for me to breathe, to stay alive, you know? So little things like that. If you consistently focus on those and repeat that over and over again, that will become part of your autopilot. That's a bit more exhausting. Well, it's possible, but you really have to put in the work every single day to do that. A second and a lot more easy way to approach this is doing direct subconscious reprogramming, which is a lot of what I focus on in my recovery course, is actually practicing tools to communicate directly to your subconscious and install that different message of safety. So some things you could do, for example, is hypnosis therapy, is something that really focuses on going to your subconscious and changing that subconscious story, communicating directly to your body. Like I said, if you want to try this out, my recovery course has a lot of great reprogramming exercises and meditations that really can focus on that, so that you don't have to consciously change your thoughts constantly, that you can go a little deeper and do some work so that that story transforms or changes more effectively and more quickly. Another thing you can do is actually prove to your brain that things are safe. So this is more exposure based. Say that you are really believing this message or this story that your emotions are not safe to feel, then sitting with your emotions through meditation, through really sitting with yourself, breathing, and being present with your emotions and actually not judging them and just seeing them for what they are, can also prove to your brain, for example, okay, this emotion actually isn't so unsafe. And the third little thing that I would have to kind of give as advice for this is, I know that the control freak amongst you are right now saying, but Robin, how do you know that life is safe? How do you know for sure that nothing bad is going to happen? And that's where I have to say, you don't know. And a very important note, and I might actually just make a video on this next week or the week after, is that in your recovery, your actual focus needs to be how you feel and not having certainty or control. If you truly want to recover and if you truly want to feel better, then you're going to have to prioritize how you feel more than actually being fully in control over life, because that's part of what your anxiety is doing. Your anxiety is saying, I need to be in control, otherwise I can't feel safe. And because there's so many things you don't have control over, your brain never allows you to be safe. And so that's where you kind of have to take that leap of faith and say, you know what, can I make how I feel in this moment more important than having that 100% control or certainty that you don't even have in the first place? It's really seeing the information you feed your brain to be almost like food you give your brain, that you want your brain to react positively to. So I hope that this video helped you guys. It was kind of unprepared, so I don't know if it really made sense completely. It was kind of an improv video because of my last minute cancellation of my interview, but I hope that it still helped you a little bit and that you have something to work with this week. So yeah, I hope you guys have a lovely week and a good weekend, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.